You would be surprised by how much your life can transform in just 3 months when you stop avoiding your reality and finally start creating the future you want. 90 days may not seem like a long time. It isn't a year, and it certainly isn't a decade. But when every single day is guided by intention, consistency, and clear purpose, those 90 days become one of the most powerful opportunities for change you will ever experience. And today marks the beginning of that transformation. Most people repeat the exact same 90 days again and again and mistake that repetition for living. They wake up exhausted, spend their days reacting instead of planning, consume endless information instead of creating something meaningful, and hope life somehow improves while never making the decision to improve themselves. Eventually, they wonder why everything around them stays exactly the same. The truth is simple. Your life is not determined by the extraordinary moments you keep waiting for. It is built through the ordinary hours you consistently invest every single day. 3 months is enough time to completely reshape your direction, yet short enough to maintain focus without becoming overwhelmed. You don't need to rebuild your entire life overnight. You don't need perfection, and you certainly don't need temporary motivation that burns brightly for a few days before disappearing. What you truly need is structure. 1 hour, 1 habit, 1 decision, repeated every day until the version of yourself you are creating becomes stronger than the version you are leaving behind. This audiobook isn't designed simply to inspire or entertain you. It exists to train your mind and reshape your habits. It offers a practical system that is simple to follow, easy to understand, and completely honest. Because the next 90 days won't be determined by inspiration alone. They will be built through discipline, clarity, measurable progress, and growing confidence. These 4 pillars support every lasting transformation. Discipline is your engine. It is the force that keeps moving when emotions disappear. It carries you through difficult mornings, demanding schedules, and every moment when giving up feels easier than continuing. Clarity acts as your compass. Without it, distractions, endless noise, and excuses steal your attention until entire weeks disappear without meaningful progress. Progress becomes your proof. Every small improvement creates momentum and reminds you that change is already happening, even when it feels invisible. Confidence is the reward earned through consistency. Real confidence never comes from hype or empty affirmations. It comes from repeatedly keeping the promises you make to yourself. So here is your challenge. For the next 90 days, dedicate 1 uninterrupted hour to yourself every single day. 1 hour where nobody can reach you. 1 hour devoted entirely to strengthening your body, sharpening your mind, developing a valuable skill, improving your habits, or eliminating patterns that have limited your growth for years. If you can protect and use that single focused hour every day, you will notice change long before 90 days have passed. Your thinking will evolve, your movements will become more intentional, your decisions will become stronger, and those decisions will slowly build a future you once believed was impossible. Picture yourself 3 months from now with greater energy, stronger self-control, sharper mental clarity, and deeper self-respect than you've experienced in years. Imagine being able to point toward real evidence of growth, habits you maintained, projects you completed, skills you mastered, difficult decisions you finally had the courage to make. This isn't wishful thinking. It is the natural outcome of consistent action repeated over time. Throughout this audiobook, we will explore 10 essential habits that create a powerful 90-day transformation. Each chapter represents another brick in the foundation of the life you are about to build. Some lessons will challenge your beliefs, some will demand uncomfortable effort. Others will force you to confront your excuses and replace them with meaningful action. But every chapter is designed with one purpose: to make you stronger, more disciplined, and more focused than you were the day before. You don't need perfection throughout these 90 days. You only need commitment. You need the willingness to begin again whenever you fall behind, to continue when progress feels invisible, and to show up even when nothing appears to be changing. Transformation is never created through occasional bursts of intensity. It is created through consistency. And these next 90 days will prove that truth beyond any doubt. Now settle into this journey. This is the beginning of your reset. You are not here to repeat yesterday. You are here to create tomorrow. And that future begins with a single decision. The decision you are making at this very moment. Give yourself 3 months, then watch your entire life begin to change. Chapter 1. The 4% Rule, How 1 hour a day can change your life. Most people greatly overestimate what they can accomplish in a single week, while completely underestimating what they can transform in 90 days. The reason is simple. They chase intensity instead of consistency. They wait for the perfect motivation, the perfect opportunity, the perfect circumstances, and the perfect moment. While they continue waiting, nothing about their life actually changes. If you truly want these next 3 months to reshape your future, you must understand one powerful principle. The 4% rule. Just 4% of your day equals 1 hour, only 60 minutes. Yet that single hour, when used intentionally and consistently, has the power to redirect your entire life. When people hear the phrase, change your life in 90 days, they often imagine extreme routines, massive sacrifices, or dramatic life overhauls. None of those are necessary. Real transformation is not determined by the size of one effort. It is created through the repetition of small actions performed every single day. For the next 90 days, your mission is incredibly simple. Protect 1 hour as if your future depends on it, because it truly does. Every lasting transformation, whether mental, physical, emotional, or financial, begins with a protected block of time where you focus entirely on becoming a better version of yourself without interruption. 1 hour where nobody else decides who you become. 1 hour where distractions lose their power. 1 hour where you stop reacting to life and begin creating it. Take a moment to reflect on your past. How many hours have disappeared into endless scrolling, unnecessary stress, meaningless distractions, or obligations that added little value to your future? How many days slipped away simply because you never claimed a small part of them for your own growth? That pattern ends today. These next 90 days are about reclaiming ownership of your time and directing it with purpose. You do not need a different personality. You do not need extraordinary willpower. You simply need a reliable system, and this chapter gives you exactly that. Everything begins with one shift in mindset. Your hour is non-negotiable. You do not postpone it. You do not shorten it. You do not sacrifice it for something that only feels urgent. You protect it the same way you protect oxygen, because it supports the highest version of yourself. Once this habit becomes fixed, everything else in your transformation becomes easier. So what should happen inside that 1 hour? The answer depends on what area of your life you want to improve. But one principle never changes. Your hour must be dedicated to building, not consuming. Consumption makes you comfortable. Creation changes your life. Many people mistake passive consumption for personal growth and spend years wondering why they remain stuck. Your hour should strengthen your body, sharpen your thinking, or move your future forward. Perhaps it becomes your workout session. Perhaps it becomes the time you learn a valuable skill. Maybe you write, study, build a business, train your mind, solve important problems, or work on projects you have avoided for years. The activity may differ. The structure never changes. One clear intention, one focused hour, one consistent standard, repeated every single day. Begin your hour by removing every possible distraction. Activate airplane mode. Turn off notifications. Close the door. Clean your environment. The moment your hour begins, you step into a different identity. You become the version of yourself that operates according to standards instead of excuses. This becomes your practice zone, your improvement zone. Every time you protect this hour, you send your mind a powerful message. I respect myself enough to invest in my own future. Next, identify one priority. Not 10, not 5, not a complicated list that guarantees overwhelm. Just one. Because focus creates power. One deeply focused hour accomplishes more than an entire day spent jumping between distractions. Choose the action that genuinely moves your life forward, not the easiest task, the most meaningful one. Then commit completely. Do not stop halfway. Do not multitask. Do not switch between unrelated activities. Go deep. Allow yourself to become fully immersed in meaningful work. That is where momentum begins. People who transform rapidly are rarely more talented than everyone else. They are simply more focused. They learn to become unavailable to everything that weakens them, while becoming fully present for everything that strengthens them. Some days your hour will flow effortlessly. Other days it will feel like a struggle. Both experiences are completely normal. Discipline has never been comfortable. Its purpose is correction. It rewires old habits, changes automatic reactions, and reshapes your identity. When your mind resists the process, it is not evidence that something is wrong. It is evidence that something is changing. Every difficult hour teaches you how to replace unconscious habits with intentional action. Over time, something remarkable begins to happen. That single hour becomes your anchor. It grounds you during chaos, it centers you during emotional storms, it provides stability whenever life feels uncertain. Slowly, you begin trusting yourself again. That trust evolves into confidence, and confidence becomes the fuel that powers even greater growth. But perhaps the most important lesson is this: the rewards of your hour will not appear immediately. That is exactly where most people give up. They work consistently for a week, fail to witness dramatic results, and wrongly conclude that nothing is happening. Yet transformation has always started quietly. Roots grow before trees become visible. Real change begins beneath the surface, inside your discipline, your mindset, and your identity. Then one day the external results finally emerge for everyone else to see. This is the true power of the 4% rule. It guarantees progress even when emotions fluctuate. It protects your direction when distractions appear. It prevents your life from drifting without purpose. Commit one focused hour every day for 90 days, and you will often accomplish more than many people achieve in several years, because consistency, not intensity, is what creates extraordinary transformation. The reason you change is not because you worked harder than everyone else, but because you showed up with consistency every single day. That one dedicated hour gradually reshapes the way you see yourself. Every time you keep your commitment, you send a powerful signal to your mind: I am someone who follows through. That message grows stronger with repetition. Your confidence expands. Your personal standards rise. You stop bargaining with your weaknesses and begin living according to your values. Slowly, you move through life with quiet confidence and inner stability, a strength that is built on discipline rather than temporary motivation. By the end of these 90 days, protecting that hour will no longer feel like a challenge. It will become part of your identity. It will be the most important appointment on your calendar, because it will represent the investment you make in yourself every single day. More than anything else, it will explain why your life changed so dramatically in such a short period of time. But none of that becomes possible until you make one simple decision. That hour belongs to you, every day, without excuses. So ask yourself this question: if one focused hour truly has the power to change your life, why wouldn't you claim it today? Why not use it to create the future you've delayed for so long? Why continue waiting for life to improve on its own when you can commit to a system that guarantees steady growth? 90 days from now, you will remember this exact moment as the turning point where everything began to shift. Not because you made one huge, dramatic choice, but because you made one consistent choice. You decided to give yourself an hour, and that single hour became the difference between the life you had and the life you built. Track it, protect it, honor it. Use it with intention every day. Because the person you become tomorrow is created inside the hour you commit to today. And today is where that hour begins. Chapter 2. Win the morning to win the next 90 days. If the opening hour of your day begins in chaos, the rest of your day will usually follow the same pattern. Mental clarity rarely appears in the middle of a busy afternoon when your attention has already been divided in countless directions. It is created at the very beginning of the day through the first choices you make before the outside world has an opportunity to influence you. That is why one of the fastest ways to transform the next 3 months of your life is by mastering your mornings. When you win your morning, you create momentum, discipline, and structure that naturally carry into every hour that follows. Unfortunately, most people wake up and immediately surrender control of their day to their phone. They check notifications. They scroll through endless content. They read messages that create stress. They begin solving other people's problems before giving even a single thought to their own priorities. By the time they officially begin their day, they are already mentally exhausted, distracted, and behind. They haven't paused to breathe. They haven't reflected. They haven't prepared. They haven't consciously chosen the kind of person they want to be today. That single mistake, allowing external noise to become louder than their own mind, often ruins the entire day before it truly begins. Winning the morning has nothing to do with waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning or following an extreme routine that doesn't fit your lifestyle. It simply means claiming the first 20 to 40 minutes of your day as your own. It means creating a calm and intentional structure that reminds your mind, I am in control of this day. Even a small morning ritual, repeated consistently, can rewire your thinking toward discipline, focus, and self-respect. 3 months is enough time for a simple morning routine to completely reshape your identity. The goal is not to discover the perfect routine. The goal is to create a reliable beginning that removes chaos and restores control. When your day starts with intention instead of reaction, every area of your life begins to improve. Your productivity becomes stronger, your mood becomes steadier, your decisions become wiser, your energy becomes more stable. Even your inner dialogue becomes more positive and supportive. Let's understand how this process works. The first principle of winning the morning is straightforward. Avoid your phone for the first 60 minutes after waking up. Treat this rule as non-negotiable. Your brain enters the day in a highly receptive state. If you immediately flood it with digital stimulation, your mind becomes reactive, distracted, and dependent on constant input. However, if you begin your morning with silence, calm breathing, and intentional thought, your mind develops focus, stability, and discipline. The second principle is physical movement. It does not have to be intense. It does not have to be complicated. It simply needs to wake your body up. Gentle movement increases circulation, sharpens your thinking, and tells your body that today is meant for action rather than inactivity. Stretch. Take a short walk. Do light exercises. Choose anything that reminds you your body is one of your greatest assets rather than an obstacle. The third principle is written intention. Before your day truly begins, identify your 3 most important priorities. Not 10. Not an overwhelming list of endless tasks. Just 3 meaningful objectives. This creates clarity. It removes unnecessary distractions. It ensures that your energy is directed toward what truly matters instead of being wasted on random activity. When your actions remain aligned with your priorities, progress continues even during difficult days. The fourth principle is mental preparation. This is the moment when you intentionally shape your mindset before facing the demands of the day. It may involve gratitude, reflection, a simple affirmation, quiet breathing, or a few peaceful moments of stillness. The specific practice matters less than the intention behind it. The purpose is to enter the day with presence instead of panic. When your thinking begins from a grounded place, you respond more effectively, work with greater focus, and experience more emotional balance. These 4 habits, silence, movement, intention, and mental priming, form the foundation of a powerful morning routine. They are intentionally simple, because complexity destroys consistency. What matters is not creating an impressive routine. What matters is practicing these habits every morning for the next 90 days until they become automatic. Once your mornings transform, your entire life begins to transform with them. There will be mornings when you feel exhausted. There will be mornings when motivation is absent. There will be mornings when every part of you wants to abandon your routine and jump straight into distraction. Those are the mornings when your routine becomes most valuable. Anyone can stay disciplined when conditions are easy. Real transformation is built by staying disciplined when conditions are difficult. Discipline is never created through perfect days. It is created through imperfect consistency. The beauty of a strong morning routine lies in the momentum it creates. Momentum is invisible, yet incredibly powerful. When your first decision is disciplined, the second decision becomes easier. When your day begins with clarity, every task that follows becomes more manageable. When you choose focus early, distractions gradually lose their influence. You become calmer, less reactive, more intentional, more grounded, and with each passing day, momentum grows stronger. If you consistently win your mornings, your afternoons improve naturally. When your afternoons improve, your evenings become more productive and peaceful. And when enough successful days are connected together, your entire 90-day journey transforms. That is how lasting change truly happens. Not through one extraordinary event, but through hundreds of ordinary choices repeated with extraordinary consistency. Your morning routine also rebuilds your identity. Every single time you complete your routine, even when you don't feel like doing it, you reinforce a powerful belief. I am someone who shows up. As the 90 days pass, that belief becomes stronger and stronger. The new version of you is not created when visible results finally appear. It is created every time you behave like the person you aspire to become, especially during the first hour of your day. Now consider what your morning should never contain. It should never begin with stress. It should never begin with rushing. It should never begin with negativity, comparison, or overwhelming digital stimulation. It should never start by immediately surrendering your attention to work or allowing outside demands to determine your emotional state. At the same time, your routine should not become excessively long, overly complicated, or unrealistic. The objective is consistency, not perfection, not performance. Your morning should become a place of clarity rather than confusion, a place of preparation rather than pressure, a place where you step into the day as the leader of your own life instead of becoming a follower of your emotions. If you're looking for a simple structure to practice over the next 90 days, here is one effective approach. Wake up, drink water, move your body gently, sit quietly for a few moments, focus on your breathing, write down your 3 most important priorities, read a few pages of something meaningful. Only after completing these steps should you enter the demands of the day. Nothing extreme, nothing overwhelming, just a sequence of intentional actions that strengthen your discipline, sharpen your focus, and build lasting momentum. You do not have to become a stereotypical morning person. You simply need to protect the beginning of your day. You must choose yourself before the world begins making choices for you. Because when you begin your mornings by strengthening your mind, energizing your body, and centering your attention, you become someone who no longer loses entire days to stress, distraction, or unnecessary noise. This is how you win the next 90 days. Not through intensity, but through intention. Not through force, but through clarity. Not by constantly doing more, but by consistently choosing what truly matters. 3 months from today, your mornings may become the very reason everything in your life feels different. You will think more clearly, work more intelligently, carry yourself with greater confidence, feel lighter and more in control. And it all begins with the decision you make each morning as the sun rises. Win your morning, win your 90 days, and ultimately, win yourself. Chapter 3. Cut what weakens you. Every meaningful transformation begins not only with the habits and actions you add to your life, but also with the things you choose to remove. You cannot create lasting strength while continuing to hold onto habits that constantly drain your energy. You cannot develop true clarity while allowing endless distractions to fill your mind. And you cannot build discipline while maintaining patterns that quietly sabotage your progress. If you want the next 90 days to completely redefine your future, you must develop the courage to eliminate everything that weakens you. This chapter is not about doing more. It is about doing less of what holds you back. It is about removing the behaviors, environments, routines, and influences that make consistency nearly impossible. Many people believe transformation comes from finding more motivation. The truth is different. Real change begins through elimination. You do not rise simply because you become stronger. You rise because you stop allowing the things that weaken you to control your life. This is the stage that most people avoid. Adding new habits feels exciting. Confronting the old habits that have silently shaped your life for years feels uncomfortable. Yet nothing truly changes until you face that reality. You cannot step into the next version of yourself while refusing to let go of the habits that belong to the previous one. Think about the goals you have set over the past few years. How many ambitious dreams did you begin with enthusiasm only to abandon later? Not because you lacked ability, not because you lacked intelligence, but because something small kept pulling you backward. A distraction, a toxic routine, a draining relationship, an unquestioned pattern, a comfort you repeatedly chose instead of growth. Your greatest obstacle has never been your potential. It has been your unwillingness to subtract what weakens you. For the next 90 days, your mission is simple. Identify the 3 biggest things stealing your energy, your attention, and your discipline. Then remove them. Do not merely reduce them. Do not attempt to manage them. Cut them completely. If something repeatedly makes you weaker, it has no place in this season of your growth. Let's examine this more clearly. The first category you must eliminate is mental noise. Mental noise includes everything that throws your thoughts into chaos before your day has even begun. Excessive news consumption, endless social media scrolling, constant reactive thinking, comparison, overthinking, emotional clutter. Each of these slowly weakens your focus. Your mind, just like your body, has limited energy every day. If you waste that energy before beginning meaningful work, you have already reduced your ability to perform. Eliminating mental noise means becoming intentional about what enters your mind. Unfollow accounts that make you feel inadequate. Reduce digital content that clouds your thinking. Limit media that constantly produces fear, anger, anxiety, or outrage. Most importantly, establish mental boundaries. When you are building your future, you do not check your phone every few minutes. When you are focused, you refuse to let the outside world interrupt your attention. The second category is environmental clutter. Your surroundings shape your behavior far more than motivation ever will. If your room, workspace, or digital environment is disorganized, your thinking will likely become disorganized as well. An environment built for distraction creates distracted habits. An environment designed for discipline makes disciplined behavior feel natural. Over the next 90 days, simplify your surroundings aggressively. Remove unnecessary objects competing for your attention. Create a workspace dedicated entirely to focused work. Clean your digital environment. Organize your files. Delete applications you never use. Turn off unnecessary notifications. Remove every physical and digital distraction that steals your clarity. A clean environment is not merely attractive, it is strategic. It creates space for clear thinking, calm breathing, and purposeful action. The third category is emotional drains. These drains may come from relationships, unnecessary obligations, constant worry, or unresolved emotional burdens. Emotional exhaustion destroys discipline faster than physical fatigue. You cannot build a powerful 90-day transformation while constantly carrying emotional weight that does not belong to you. This does not necessarily mean removing people you care about. It means creating healthy boundaries with those who consistently drain your energy. It means reducing unnecessary commitments. It means honestly identifying which emotional burdens are preventing your growth. Sometimes the healthiest form of self-respect is saying no. Sometimes the most life-changing decision is walking away. Sometimes growth requires distance. The fourth category involves self-sabotaging behaviors. These include staying awake too late and destroying tomorrow morning, procrastination disguised as preparation, stress eating, repeatedly hitting the snooze button, mindlessly wasting evenings on entertainment, constantly telling yourself, "I'll begin tomorrow." These invisible habits quietly erase your potential. Individually, they seem insignificant. Repeated over 90 days, they become incredibly destructive. Eliminating self-sabotage begins with awareness. Observe your patterns honestly. Study your own behavior. Notice which actions consistently leave you feeling weaker rather than stronger. Replace destructive habits with healthier defaults. Create a consistent bedtime routine. Schedule intentional rest. Take purposeful breaks. Choose activities that restore your mind instead of exhausting it. The fifth category is excessive comfort. Comfort is one of the most deceptive obstacles in modern life. It feels harmless. It feels earned. It feels relaxing. Yet when comfort becomes excessive, it quietly becomes the prison that prevents growth. Comfort itself is not the enemy. Comfort chosen at the wrong time destroys transformation. Reducing unnecessary comfort means intentionally choosing challenge, choosing movement instead of stagnation, choosing effort instead of convenience, choosing discipline instead of impulse. Growth never comes from what feels easiest in the moment. It comes from what serves your future in the long run. Cutting what weakens you does not mean destroying everything familiar. It means honestly recognizing which parts of your current life prevent you from building the life you truly desire. That distinction matters. You are not trying to punish yourself. You are trying to free yourself. To make this practical, complete one simple exercise during the next 90 days. Draw 3 columns. The first asks, what weakens my mind? The second asks, what weakens my environment? The third asks, what weakens my discipline? Under each heading, write every habit, influence, behavior, or pattern that consistently drains your energy. Be completely honest. Do not soften reality. Do not defend what you already know is hurting you. After finishing your list, choose the 3 biggest drains from all 3 categories. Those become the things you remove for the next 90 days. Removing those 3 obstacles will create more change than adding 10 new habits. When what weakens you disappears, everything that strengthens you becomes easier. Your thinking becomes clearer. Your energy becomes lighter. Your discipline becomes stronger. Your transformation becomes unavoidable. Resistance will appear. Your old habits will invite you back. Comfort will tempt you. Your emotions will try to negotiate. Remember this. Resistance is not evidence that you should stop. Resistance often proves you are removing exactly what needs to go. Growth has always begun with discomfort. Spend these 90 days becoming the kind of person who refuses to let weak routines control a strong future. Become someone who refuses to let excuses limit extraordinary potential. Become someone who chooses clarity over chaos, discipline over distraction, intentional living over unconscious survival. This chapter represents a turning point, because once you remove everything that weakens you, everything that strengthens you finally has room to grow. Cut the noise, cut the emotional drains, cut the habits that quietly steal your future, and watch yourself become lighter, stronger, clearer, and more focused than ever before. Chapter 4. The Power of Deep Focus. There is a reason your life often feels scattered, a reason you begin important projects but rarely finish them, a reason you stay busy every day yet struggle to make meaningful progress. It is not because you lack talent. It is not because you lack intelligence. It is because your attention has been fragmented into countless invisible pieces, constantly pulled away by distractions, notifications, responsibilities, impulses, and endless noise. If you want these next 90 days to truly transform your life, you must master one skill that separates extraordinary performers from everyone else: deep focus. Deep focus is much more than concentration. It is the ability to devote your complete attention, your complete presence, and your complete mental energy to one meaningful task at a time. That ability has become increasingly rare in a world designed to steal your attention. It has become incredibly valuable in a culture where constant multitasking produces average results. And it becomes life-changing for anyone seeking genuine progress instead of endless activity. You may have convinced yourself that your biggest limitation is time. You may believe that if only you had more hours available, everything would improve. But time has never been the real limitation. Attention has. 1 hour of complete focus produces more meaningful progress than an entire day filled with interruptions. A deep work session develops greater skill, deeper understanding, and stronger confidence than many hours of distracted effort. You do not need additional time. You simply need fewer places where your attention leaks away. Think back to the last time you became completely immersed in meaningful work. Perhaps you were creating something you loved. Perhaps you were solving a difficult problem. Perhaps you were fully engaged in a project that demanded your best thinking. During those moments, the outside world seemed to disappear. You were fully present. You were completely engaged. You were operating at your highest level. Now imagine intentionally creating that state every single day for the next 90 days. Imagine what that level of focus would do for your goals, your mindset, your confidence, and your identity. That is the extraordinary power of deep focus. But before you can master it, you must first accept one uncomfortable truth. You have been trained to become distracted. Every notification teaches your mind to react instead of concentrate. Every unnecessary browser tab teaches your attention to scatter. Every habit of reaching for your phone conditions your brain to seek constant stimulation rather than remain fully committed to one meaningful task. Deep focus begins the moment you decide that your attention is too valuable to give away so easily. You have spent far more time training your mind to become distracted than teaching it how to remain focused. That is why concentration feels difficult. That is why discipline often feels out of reach. That is why your days seem scattered and unproductive. The encouraging truth is that your mind can be retrained. Focus is a skill. Like any muscle, it becomes stronger through consistent practice. Over the next 90 days, you have the opportunity to strengthen that mental muscle every single day. Let's understand what deep focus truly requires. The first requirement is intention. You cannot give complete attention to something that has never been clearly defined. Before beginning your daily transformation hour, decide on the single task that matters most, not the easiest task, not the urgent task that adds little value. Choose the task that genuinely moves your life forward. Your mind performs best when it has a clear destination. Without that destination, it naturally begins searching for quick stimulation rather than meaningful progress. The second requirement is your environment. Focused work cannot thrive in surroundings designed for distraction. During these 90 days, your environment becomes incredibly important. Your desk, your phone, your applications, your browser tabs, your workspace. Everything around you either supports concentration or destroys it. Design your surroundings so that focus becomes the natural choice. Remove distractions before your work begins. Close every unnecessary tab. Silence every unnecessary notification. Place your phone somewhere beyond immediate reach. When your environment encourages concentration, your mind naturally follows. The third requirement is protecting your time. Deep focus cannot survive inside fragmented moments scattered throughout the day. It requires a dedicated block of uninterrupted time. 30 minutes, 60 minutes, 90 minutes. Whatever duration you choose, it belongs entirely to one meaningful objective. During that period, you are unavailable to everything else. No messages, no social media, no unnecessary browsing, no switching between tasks. Your attention becomes sacred. Your focus becomes a promise you refuse to break. The fourth requirement is mental discipline. Your brain will resist focused work. You will feel the urge to check your phone. You will want to switch tasks. You will crave quick stimulation. That reaction is completely natural. It is simply the result of years spent practicing shallow attention. Deep focus requires teaching your mind to stay where it is, to resist the desire to escape discomfort, to remain present even when concentration feels difficult. Every time you ignore the temptation to switch tasks, your focus grows stronger. Every time you sit with temporary boredom instead of escaping it, your mental resilience increases. Deep focus is not designed to feel easy. It is designed to make you powerful. The fifth requirement is intentional recovery. Deep focus does not mean forcing yourself to work endlessly. It means working deeply, resting wisely, and returning with renewed energy. After completing a focused work session, step away for a few moments. Take a breath, move your body, allow your mind to reset. That recovery period restores clarity and replenishes energy. Rest is not a weakness. It is an essential part of making deep focus sustainable over time. Now let's understand why deep focus plays such a vital role in your 90-day transformation. Because deep focus creates meaningful progress, and progress reshapes identity. When you work with complete attention, you create work you genuinely respect. You learn faster, you strengthen valuable skills, you complete what you begin, you move steadily toward your goals. As real results begin to appear, your belief in yourself naturally increases. That belief creates momentum, and momentum becomes lasting transformation. Most people fail to recognize another hidden cost of distraction. Distraction destroys more than productivity. It slowly destroys confidence. Every time you abandon your focus, you reinforce the belief that you cannot stay committed. Every time you surrender to distraction, you weaken your own identity. But every time you remain focused, you strengthen it. Deep focus is not simply about accomplishing more work. It is about proving to yourself that you can keep the promises you make. Let's make this practical. For the next 90 days, commit to one daily session of deep focus. Begin with 30 minutes if necessary. Gradually extend it to 45 minutes. Eventually reach 60 minutes or more. The exact duration matters less than your consistency. During that session, choose one meaningful objective. Remove every possible distraction. Give it your complete attention. Remain fully present until the session ends. The process is simple. Its impact is extraordinary. This daily period of deep focus becomes the foundation of your growth. It becomes the place where you develop your expertise, advance your goals, strengthen your discipline, and gradually reshape your life. The more consistently you practice, the more natural deep focus becomes. Some days your concentration will feel effortless. Other days it will feel almost impossible. Those difficult days matter the most. Those are the days that build your character. Those are the days that define your transformation. Not the easy ones, the disciplined ones. Always remember this truth. The world rewards people who consistently do what others struggle to maintain. And in an age where nearly everyone is addicted to distraction, one of the rarest and most valuable abilities is sustained deep focus. This skill increases your personal value. It accelerates your growth. It unlocks your hidden potential. 3 months of practicing deep focus can fundamentally change who you become. It transforms the way you work, the way you think, the way you create, and the way you carry yourself through life. You become calm under pressure, steady during uncertainty, powerful through presence, and deeply confident because of your discipline. Deep focus is not merely a productivity technique. It is a commitment to becoming someone who respects time, protects attention, and intentionally builds the future they desire. The next 90 days are your training ground. Choose your target, design your environment, protect your time, strengthen your mind, and allow deep focus to become the advantage that separates you from the crowd. Chapter 5. Build skills that continue to reward you. If you truly want the next 90 days to transform your life, you must shift your attention away from simply working harder and begin focusing on meaningful personal growth. The goal is not more effort. The goal is more value. Hard work alone can leave you exhausted. Skill makes you powerful. Hard work demands energy. Skill creates leverage. When you develop valuable abilities, your worth increases. Your confidence grows. Your opportunities multiply. The reason many people remain stuck is not because they lack effort. It is because they spend their days completing tasks that create nothing lasting. They check off lists, stay constantly busy, feel productive. Yet by the end of the week, nothing meaningful has improved. Their identity remains the same. Their future remains unchanged. They are moving constantly, but they are not growing. If you want these 90 days to become the turning point of your life, make one important commitment. For the next 3 months, dedicate yourself to mastering at least one skill that upgrades who you are and how you contribute to the world. Choose a skill that increases your earning potential, strengthens your discipline, expands your opportunities, and continues rewarding you for years to come. Skills are the true currency of lasting transformation. Think about the strongest version of yourself, the version who is confident, disciplined, sharp-minded, respected, capable, and unstoppable. That person did not appear by chance. They were built through deliberate practice, consistent repetition, focused learning, and intentional training. Becoming that version of yourself requires learning something that stretches your mind beyond its current limits, something that expands your comfort zone, something that improves your ability to create meaningful results. The first step in this chapter is gaining clarity. Identify one skill that would make the next version of you significantly stronger if mastered. Do not choose a casual hobby simply because it seems enjoyable. Do not choose something insignificant. Choose a skill that carries real weight, one that creates measurable impact. It may be communication, writing, programming, design, leadership, health and fitness knowledge, public speaking, emotional mastery, negotiation, sales, critical thinking, or self-discipline itself. Select something that elevates your thinking and expands your future possibilities. Your 90-day journey requires a meaningful target. Skill development provides that direction. Once you have selected your skill, the next step is commitment. For the next 90 days, become a student again, not a passive learner who simply consumes information. Become an active learner, one who practices consistently, applies knowledge immediately, and returns every day because growth has become a personal standard rather than a temporary source of motivation. Building valuable skills is rarely glamorous. It requires repetition, it demands patience, it pushes you into discomfort, it challenges your limits. But it is also one of the few paths that guarantees lasting transformation, because every time you build a valuable skill, you are not only improving your abilities, you are building a stronger identity, and identity is the foundation upon which every extraordinary life is created. When you strengthen your identity, you strengthen your belief in yourself, and belief is the force that fuels lasting transformation. It is the foundation upon which long-term change is built. Now let's understand how a skill can truly be developed within 90 days. The first element is deliberate practice. Deliberate practice means practicing with purpose rather than going through the motions. It means spending focused time performing the exact actions that improve your ability. Not casually reading, not drifting through ideas, not multitasking while pretending to learn. True practice demands your full attention. If your chosen skill is writing, then write every single day. If your goal is public speaking, record yourself and review your performance daily. If you are learning programming, code consistently instead of only watching tutorials. Deliberate practice is uncomfortable because it exposes everything you still need to improve. But that discomfort is exactly where growth begins. The second element is feedback. No skill can be mastered in isolation. Improvement requires honest information from reality. That feedback may come through measurable results. It may come from reviewing your own work. It may come from mentors, coaches, or objective performance metrics. Feedback is not criticism, it is a mirror. It reveals where your technique can improve, where your strategy should change, and where greater effort is required. Many people avoid feedback because it challenges their ego. Those who become exceptional actively seek feedback because they understand it is the fastest path toward excellence. The third element is iteration. Every skill develops through repeated cycles. You attempt, you make mistakes, you adjust, then you attempt again. 90 days provides enough time to experience multiple rounds of refinement and improvement. Never fear repetition. Repetition is the birthplace of mastery. Through repetition, knowledge transforms into instinct. What once required conscious effort eventually becomes part of who you naturally are. The fourth element is focused practice blocks. A valuable skill cannot be developed through scattered moments of attention. It requires uninterrupted periods of concentrated work. 30 minutes, 60 minutes, 90 minutes. Whatever duration you choose, dedicate that time entirely to training your skill. Within those focused sessions, your mind and your execution become increasingly connected. Your brain learns to concentrate more deeply, learn more efficiently, adapt more quickly, and perform at a higher level. The fifth element is application. A skill only becomes powerful when it is used in the real world. If you practice only in private, your growth remains theoretical. But when you apply your ability to projects, conversations, challenges, and real situations, your development accelerates dramatically. Practical application demands creativity, problem-solving, adaptability, and confidence. Real experience transforms learning into competence. The sixth element is identity alignment. You must begin thinking like the person who is mastering the skill. See yourself as someone who creates, someone who learns continuously, someone disciplined enough to improve every single day. Skill development is not merely about technical ability. It is about becoming a different person. If your identity tells you that you are inconsistent, your behavior will reflect inconsistency. But if you begin identifying as someone committed to growth, your actions naturally begin supporting that belief. Many people abandon skill development because the early stages feel slow and unrewarding. The first few weeks often feel awkward. Nothing seems to click. Progress appears invisible. Yet invisible progress is still progress. Skill development works much like compound interest. At first, the returns seem small. Then, after consistent investment, growth begins accelerating rapidly. Eventually, the improvement becomes impossible to ignore. That is exactly why 90 days is such a powerful time frame. It is long enough for meaningful progress to emerge, short enough to maintain urgency, structured enough to create momentum, flexible enough to allow adjustment along the way. When you dedicate 90 days to mastering a valuable skill, you transform far more than your abilities. You reshape the way you think, the way you learn, the way you approach challenges, and the way you perform in every area of life. Now let's discuss energy. Learning a valuable skill generates energy. Not because the process is easy, but because it provides purpose. Growth creates excitement. Learning builds capability. Improvement produces pride. Every small advancement becomes additional fuel that strengthens your momentum. That momentum slowly becomes your identity, and your identity creates lasting transformation. For the next 90 days, your daily learning structure can remain simple. Spend 15 minutes studying concepts and understanding theory. Spend 30 minutes applying those concepts through focused practice. Spend the final 15 minutes reflecting on what worked well, what needs improvement, and what adjustments should be made tomorrow. Only 1 hour. Only 4% of your day. Yet across 90 days, that single hour becomes 90 hours of intentional, structured, and powerful development. 90 focused hours are enough to become significantly better than where you began. Enough to earn greater respect, enough to create new opportunities, enough to completely redirect the course of your future. Here is the truth. People rarely rise because of natural talent alone. They rise because they possess valuable skills, and skills are created through effort. They are not inherited at birth. These 90 days will never reward perfection. They will reward commitment. They will reward consistency. They will reward the individual who continues showing up even when improvement feels slow, even when practice feels difficult, even when doubt appears. Because doubt always becomes part of the journey, but doubt cannot stop someone who continues training. 3 months from today, you will no longer be the same person. You will see opportunities differently. You will carry yourself differently. You will think with greater confidence, because developing a skill changes both the way you see yourself and the way the world sees you. Build the skill. Strengthen your identity. Create your future. Your 90-day transformation begins today. Chapter 6. Strengthen your mindset before you change your life. Every external problem in life begins as an internal problem of mindset. Long before habits collapse, thinking begins to weaken. Long before discipline disappears, beliefs begin to fade. Long before life becomes chaotic, the mind becomes louder than purpose. This explains why so many people desperately try to improve their lives, yet remain trapped in the same patterns. They spend their energy fixing symptoms while refusing to address the true source. If you want these next 90 days to transform everything, strengthen your mindset before attempting to rebuild your life. Your mindset functions as the operating system behind every decision you make. When your mindset is resilient, difficult challenges appear manageable. When your mindset is fragile, Even simple responsibilities feel overwhelming. You have experienced this before. Days where nothing seemed to go right because your thoughts were working against you. Moments when one setback destroyed your momentum. Times when doubt convinced you that progress was impossible. Situations where you questioned your abilities and underestimated your potential. Those experiences were not created by reality itself. They were created by the meaning your mind assigned to reality. Here is the truth. You cannot create a powerful life while carrying a fragile mindset. You cannot maintain discipline if your thinking is ruled by fear, doubt, and emotional instability. You cannot unlock your potential while continuing to obey limiting beliefs you never consciously chose. Your mindset must be strengthened, expanded, reinforced every single day, just like any valuable skill. The mind is not something you repair once and forget. It is something you continuously train, something you prepare, something you strengthen until it becomes resilient under pressure. The next 90 days will challenge you. They will stretch your limits. They will push you beyond familiar comfort. To survive that growth, your mindset must already be preparing for it. Let's examine the foundations of a powerful mindset. The first foundation is ownership. Nothing changes until you stop blaming circumstances, other people, timing, or luck. Taking ownership does not mean every difficulty you experienced was your fault. It simply means that responsibility for your future belongs entirely to you. Ownership returns your power. When you own your decisions, you own your outcomes. When you accept responsibility for your mistakes, you gain the ability to transform them into lessons. A strong mindset begins the moment you declare, "My future is my responsibility from this point forward." The second foundation is emotional regulation. Many people allow emotions to control every decision they make. When they feel motivated, they take action. When they feel tired, they stop. When fear appears, they freeze. When stress builds, they avoid responsibility. That is an unstable foundation for growth. A strong mindset cannot depend on feelings because feelings constantly change. Instead, it learns to experience emotions without becoming controlled by them. It learns to breathe through stress, pause before reacting, respond intentionally instead of impulsively. When you master your emotional responses, you recover your clarity. The third foundation is mental reframing. The meaning you assign to events shapes your experience of life, not through magic, but because your behavior always follows your interpretation. A setback can become an excuse to quit, or it can become an opportunity to learn. A challenge can become resistance, or it can become training. Failure can become shame, or it can become valuable feedback. Your future moves in the direction of the meanings you repeatedly choose. Strengthen your interpretations, and your life naturally becomes stronger with them. The fourth foundation is resilience. A resilient mindset is not one that never experiences struggle. It is one that rebuilds itself quickly after setbacks. Life will challenge you during the next 90 days. Unexpected problems will arise. Distractions will appear. Your discipline will be tested. Most people stop when these moments arrive. Those who transform respond differently. They recover quickly. They refuse to spiral into self-sabotage. They pause, regain their center, and continue moving forward. Resilience is the ability to restart without losing your direction. The fifth foundation is identity alignment. Your actions always reflect the person you believe yourself to be. If you believe you are inconsistent, your behavior will continue proving that belief. If you believe you lack discipline, you will naturally avoid disciplined action. But the moment you begin seeing yourself as someone who follows through on commitments, your behavior starts changing to match that identity. Transformation always begins inside long before it becomes visible outside. Mindset development is ultimately the process of strengthening your identity. These next 90 days require you to speak to yourself like someone who is becoming stronger, wiser, and more capable, not like someone who believes they are destined to remain stuck. Now let's turn this into practical action. For the next 90 days, every morning begins with a mindset reset. Before you take action, you first align yourself, Ground your thoughts, reconnect with your purpose, and consciously decide who you want to be before the outside world begins influencing your mind. Most people wake up already operating in survival mode. You will choose something different. You will wake up in leadership mode, directing your thoughts instead of allowing your thoughts to direct you. Begin every morning with a simple 3-step mental check-in. First, ask yourself, what am I thinking right now? Become aware of the dominant thought occupying your mind, because awareness is always the first step toward control. Second, ask yourself, is this thought strengthening me or weakening me? Remember that every thought deserves examination, but not every thought deserves belief. Third, ask yourself, what stronger thought can I choose instead? Deliberately guide your mind toward clarity instead of confusion and toward purpose instead of chaos. Although this exercise appears simple, practicing it consistently can completely redirect the course of your life. When you discipline your thoughts, your actions naturally become disciplined. When your actions become disciplined, your results begin to reflect that discipline. Another powerful way to strengthen your mindset is through pattern interruption. Whenever you notice yourself slipping into old habits of procrastination, fear, self-doubt, or excuse-making, interrupt the pattern immediately with physical action. Stand up, take a slow, deep breath, plant your feet firmly on the ground, or say a command aloud such as, "Stop, refocus." That interruption breaks the automatic cycle and creates space for a different response. You also need to practice mental subtraction. Many people try to improve their lives by constantly adding more responsibilities, more pressure, and more expectations. But your mindset grows stronger, much faster, when you remove the thoughts that are weakening it. Remove catastrophic thinking. Remove all or nothing thinking. Remove the story that says you are already behind. Remove the habit of criticizing yourself before you've even made an effort. As mental clutter disappears, clarity naturally takes its place. Your mindset also develops through intentional exposure to discomfort. Growth has never been created by convenience. Growth is created by stretching beyond what feels comfortable. Every time you choose a difficult action, waking up early, finishing a demanding workout, having an uncomfortable conversation, or practicing when motivation is absent, you prove to yourself that your abilities are greater than your excuses. That process builds grit. And grit is the kind of inner strength capable of transforming a 90-day commitment into a lifelong change. One of the most valuable practices in this chapter is daily reflection. At the end of each day, pause and ask yourself 3 questions. What did I do today that made me stronger? Where did my mindset weaken today? What adjustment can I make tomorrow? Reflection converts experience into wisdom. Without reflection, mistakes repeat themselves. With reflection, mistakes become lessons that sharpen your growth. The stronger your mindset becomes, the less difficult everything else feels. With a weak mindset, every challenge seems overwhelming. With a strong mindset, every challenge becomes intentional training. A weak mindset is stopped by obstacles. A strong mindset becomes stronger because of them. These 90 days are about far more than building habits. They are about building the mental strength required to maintain those habits long after motivation disappears. The next chapter explores how to remain calm under pressure, because emotional control is the natural companion of a resilient mindset. But before moving forward, remember one essential truth. Your life can never grow beyond the limits of your mindset. Strengthen your thinking, and your life will naturally begin expanding with it. These 90 days are not about becoming flawless. They are about becoming mentally unshakable, becoming someone who chooses clarity over confusion, purpose over impulse, growth over comfort. Strengthen your mindset, and everything else will begin falling into place. Chapter 7. Face the difficult things you have been avoiding. Every person who transforms their life eventually arrives at the same defining moment, the moment they decide to confront the difficult things they have spent years avoiding. The uncomfortable conversations, the unresolved conflicts, the financial problems they continue postponing, the habits they pretend are harmless, the fears they refuse to acknowledge, the truths they would rather never face. Avoidance is one of the quietest thieves of human potential. It steals months and years without making a sound. If you truly want these next 90 days to change your life, you must stop running from the things that weaken you and begin facing them with intention. Avoiding difficult situations does not make you weak. It simply makes you human. The human brain naturally seeks comfort and avoids discomfort. But comfort often tells the biggest lie. It promises temporary relief while quietly creating long-term regret. Every important thing you avoid costs you twice. First through the anxiety of delaying it, then through the consequences of leaving it undone. Avoidance traps you inside cycles you already know too well. Facing difficult situations is more than taking action. It represents a complete shift in identity. It is the moment you declare, "I will no longer build my future around fear." It is refusing to let procrastination determine your direction. It is choosing strength over emotional convenience. This is the point where transformation stops being passive and becomes intentional. The next 90 days demand that you stop negotiating with avoidance. You have goals, you have dreams, you have a future waiting to be created, but none of it can unfold until you confront the obstacles that have been holding you back. Here is an important truth. The very things you continue avoiding are often the things capable of changing your life the fastest. The difficult conversation you fear could bring immediate relief. The paperwork you keep postponing could restore order. The training you avoid could build lasting confidence. The habit you refuse to break could restore your energy. The problem you continue hiding from could finally bring clarity. Your next level almost always exists behind the door you least want to open. Facing difficult things does not require the absence of fear. It requires action despite fear. It requires courage in the presence of discomfort. Courage is not living without fear. Courage is refusing to obey fear. To begin this chapter, ask yourself one simple question. What have I been avoiding that I already know I need to face? Do not overanalyze. Your mind already knows the answer. It appears immediately because it has been sitting inside you for months, perhaps even years. That answer marks the beginning of your transformation. Now, let's understand a practical process for facing difficult situations in a structured and achievable way. The first step is naming the discomfort. You cannot confront what you refuse to identify. Write down the 3 biggest things you have been avoiding. Be completely honest. Be specific. The brain naturally tries to blur problems to make them appear less threatening. Your job is to bring those problems into complete clarity, because clarity creates power. The second step is removing the emotional weight attached to the task. Most avoided tasks are not actually difficult. They simply carry emotional discomfort. You are rarely avoiding the task itself. You are avoiding the feeling connected to it, the fear of conflict, the fear of embarrassment, the fear of discomfort. The moment you separate the task from the emotion attached to it, the task becomes far more manageable. Avoidance loses its strength when emotions are acknowledged instead of escaped. The third step is simplifying the action. Avoidance thrives when tasks feel overwhelming. The larger something appears, the stronger your resistance becomes. Break every difficult challenge into small, specific actions. One phone call, one message, one document, one conversation, one decision. As the task becomes smaller, the fear becomes smaller too. The fourth step is creating a deadline. Important actions rarely happen without urgency. The next 90 days demand commitment, and commitment requires clear deadlines. Choose an exact date and time for every difficult task. Place it on your calendar. Treat it as an appointment with the future version of yourself. The fifth step is taking the very first uncomfortable action immediately. Not tomorrow, not after life becomes easier. Today. The longer you delay action, the heavier the task becomes. Immediate action interrupts the cycle of avoidance. Action has always been the antidote to fear. The sixth step is celebrating the identity shift rather than the outcome. The true victory is not completing the task. The true victory is becoming the kind of person who no longer runs from it. Every difficult challenge you face strengthens your discipline, deepens your confidence, stabilizes your character, and reshapes your identity. You stop becoming someone who postpones life. You become someone who leads it. Very few things create momentum as powerfully as facing what once intimidated you. Each difficult action expands your mind, strengthens your confidence, and elevates your self-respect. Avoidance begins to lose its grip. You start trusting yourself again, and that trust becomes the foundation upon which your transformation is built. Finally, understand the psychology behind avoidance. Avoidance offers temporary comfort while creating permanent stress. It provides short-term relief, but guarantees future pressure. Every unfinished responsibility continues occupying mental space. It creates guilt, anxiety, restlessness, and invisible tension. You carry that emotional weight into every single day. It drains your energy, weakens your focus, and slows your progress. But the moment you choose to face the difficult things you have been avoiding, something remarkable happens. The weight begins to lift. Your mind becomes lighter. Your energy returns. Your confidence grows. And you finally create the freedom that only courage can provide. Disable notifications for everything that is not genuinely important. If your phone controls your attention, then your phone controls you. Your phone should function as a tool, never as your master. Declutter your computer. Close abandoned tabs. Delete unnecessary files. Simplify your desktop. Organize documents into clear folders. When your digital environment becomes organized, your mind immediately feels lighter. Develop simple focus rituals. Place your phone beyond reach. Use full screen mode while working. Keep open only the tabs required for your task. Silence every unnecessary notification. Your mind will become calmer. Your work quality will improve. Your stress will decrease. Your concentration will sharpen. Deep transformation requires deep attention, and deep attention requires digital simplicity. 3. Social environment. People influence your life far more than you realize. Your environment is not limited to physical spaces or digital devices. It also includes the people surrounding you every day. The people in your life shape your behavior, your standards, your beliefs, and ultimately, your identity. During these next 90 days, become intentional about the energy you allow into your life. Some people strengthen your growth, others quietly sabotage it. Some inspire action, others drain motivation. Some encourage your progress, others unintentionally keep you attached to your old identity. This does not mean removing everyone from your life. It means becoming intentional about access. Give less time to those who discourage growth. Give more time to those who support your goals. Create healthy boundaries with people who constantly drain your energy. Seek greater proximity to people who inspire discipline, excellence, and progress. Surround yourself with individuals who discuss goals instead of gossip, solutions instead of complaints, growth instead of drama. And if those people are not physically present in your life yet, you can still create that environment. Read books written by remarkable people. Listen to meaningful audiobooks. Watch educational content. Learn from mentors online. Even virtual proximity has the power to reshape your thinking and gradually transform your identity. Chapter 9. Track, Review, and Adjust. Weekly. One of the biggest reasons people fail to transform their lives is surprisingly simple. They never keep track of anything. They fail to measure their progress, review their decisions, or refine their approach. Instead, they hope things are getting better without ever checking. And when clarity is absent, guesswork takes over. Guesswork leads to inconsistency. Inconsistency creates disappointment, and disappointment eventually causes people to quit. If you truly want the next 90 days to reshape your life, you must replace guessing with tracking. What gets measured improves. What gets reviewed grows faster. What gets adjusted becomes unstoppable. A 90-day transformation is never a straight path. It is a continuous cycle of learning, refining, and rising higher. Tracking creates awareness. Review builds understanding. Adjustment drives evolution. You cannot improve what you refuse to examine. Ignoring reality never protects you. It only weakens your progress. But when you honestly track your actions, you reclaim control. Every day becomes valuable data. Every week becomes meaningful insight. Every mistake becomes useful feedback instead of failure. Tracking is not there to judge you. It exists to teach you. The purpose of this chapter is simple. Make tracking and weekly review your greatest advantage. If you commit to this practice for the next 90 days, your progress will become impossible to ignore. The first truth you must understand is that your memory cannot be trusted. It forgets victories, exaggerates setbacks, and often distorts your progress. You cannot rely on emotions to evaluate your growth because feelings change too quickly. Progress often remains invisible until the numbers reveal it. Tracking makes invisible progress visible. When you consistently record your habits, focus, energy, and output, you create an honest mirror for your life. That mirror shows exactly where you are succeeding, where you are slipping, and where adjustments are needed. Awareness is the beginning of transformation. The 3 pillars of your tracking system. For the next 90 days, focus on tracking 3 essential categories: actions, energy, results. Actions measure what you did. Energy measures how you felt. Results measure what improved. Together, these 3 areas provide a complete picture of your journey, your behavior, your internal state, and your outcomes. Most people only pay attention to results, and that is why they quit too early. When immediate results fail to appear, they assume nothing is working. In reality, results are always the last thing to show up. Actions and energy shift first. You must learn to recognize these early signs of progress before major changes become visible. 1. Track your actions. Daily evidence. Every day, ask yourself, did I complete my 1 hour of focused work? Did I follow my morning routine? Did I stay consistent with my key habit? Did I eliminate my 3 biggest distractions? Did I practice my chosen skill? Use simple checkboxes instead of long journal entries. Tracking should be effortless. If the system becomes complicated, you won't stay consistent. Your daily actions are the foundation of your transformation. Even when visible results haven't appeared yet, your consistent actions prove that momentum is being built. 2. Track your energy. Internal data. Your energy reveals what your mind and body are experiencing. Each day, rate your energy on a scale from 1 to 5. 1, exhausted. 3, neutral. 5, strong and energized. Tracking your energy uncovers patterns most people never notice. You may discover that your energy drops after staying up late, rises after exercise, or crashes after spending time with certain people, eating certain foods, or handling specific tasks. Energy is valuable information. Once you recognize these patterns, you can make smarter adjustments instead of guessing. 3. Track your results. Weekly progress results should be reviewed weekly, not daily. Daily evaluation often creates unnecessary anxiety. Weekly evaluation creates clarity. Every 7 days, ask yourself, what improved? What stayed the same? What slipped? What surprised me? Your weekly review is where awareness becomes power. The weekly reset. The weekly reset is one of the most valuable rituals you can practice during these 90 days. It gives you an opportunity to step away from daily chaos and observe your life with perspective. Most people rush from one week to the next without reflecting. They repeat the same mistakes because they never pause long enough to understand them. Your weekly reset breaks that cycle. It turns unconscious living into intentional growth. Step 1. Review your actions. Look at your completed checkboxes. Count your victories. Count your missed opportunities. This exercise is not about perfection, it is about awareness. If you complete even 60 to 70% of your planned actions, you are moving forward. Consistency does not mean doing everything every day. It means doing the right things more often than not. Step 2. Review your energy study. Your energy patterns carefully. Which days felt heavy? Which days felt productive and light? What caused those differences? These answers help you improve your routines, sleep habits, workload, boundaries, and overall lifestyle. Step 3. Review your results. Notice the small victories. Perhaps your mind feels clearer. Perhaps your workspace is more organized. Perhaps you completed an important task, strengthened a skill, or improved your mood. Progress is usually quiet before it becomes obvious. Step 4. Choose one improvement. For the coming week, identify only one thing to improve. Not 10, just one. Improvement thrives through focused attention. If you improve one important area every week, you will create 12 meaningful improvements over 90 days, and that is a remarkable transformation. Step 5. Reset your environment. Clean your desk, organize your tools, prepare your workspace. A refreshed environment creates a refreshed mindset and prepares you for a productive week ahead. Step 6. Rewrite your priorities. Choose your top 3 priorities for the upcoming week. Clear priorities prevent distraction and drift. When direction is defined, your actions become intentional. Step 7. Recommit. Say it aloud. I am not here to repeat last week. I am here to become better. This simple act strengthens your identity. Every week you recommit, you reinforce the belief that you are someone who follows through. Why? Tracking creates transformation. Tracking destroys the illusion of failure. Tracking reveals your true patterns. Tracking increases self-awareness. Tracking removes emotional guesswork. Tracking shows progress long before the mirror reflects it. Tracking keeps you accountable. Tracking gives you control over your growth. Most importantly, tracking builds trust in yourself. Every completed habit, every recorded action, and every honest review becomes proof that you keep your promises. That trust becomes confidence. Confidence becomes momentum. Momentum becomes identity. And identity becomes lasting transformation. Over these next 90 days, tracking will become more than a habit. It will become the system that keeps you focused, grounded, and moving forward regardless of setbacks. When you know where you stand, you always know where to improve. And when you consistently improve, transformation is no longer a possibility. It becomes inevitable. Every box you check becomes proof that you are becoming the person you promised yourself you would become. Self-trust is the foundation of confidence. Confidence is the foundation of discipline, and discipline is the foundation of lasting transformation. The identity shift that comes from tracking does far more than change your habits. It reshapes your identity. When you track your days, you become someone who pays attention. When you review your weeks, you become someone who learns. When you adjust your strategy, you become someone who evolves. Your 90-day transformation stops being random effort and becomes a deliberate process of personal evolution. What happens after 90 days of tracking? By the end of this journey, you will know yourself better than ever before. You will understand what drains your energy, what strengthens your mind, what motivates you, what distracts you, what fuels your progress, and what slows you down. You will begin designing your life based on evidence rather than emotion. You will operate with clarity instead of confusion. You will no longer fear setbacks because you will know exactly how to analyze them. You will no longer fear failure because you will understand how to adjust your strategy. You will no longer fear slow progress because you will watch it building day by day. Tracking removes the fear of uncertainty. You cannot truly feel lost when you always know exactly where you stand. Your transformation depends on this ritual. The next 90 days are not about perfection. They are about awareness, refinement, and continuous elevation. Even if you did nothing except track your actions, review your patterns, and adjust your strategy every week, your life would transform because you would finally be living consciously, intentionally, and with purpose. An untracked life repeats itself. A tracked life evolves. Track your actions, review your patterns, adjust your direction. That is how lasting growth happens. Chapter 10. Identity Shift. Become the person who doesn't quit. Every transformation eventually reaches the same defining moment. A moment when habits alone are no longer enough. When systems alone are no longer enough. When discipline alone is no longer enough. Because every one of those tools depends on something even deeper. Your identity. How you see yourself. Who you believe you are. The standards you expect yourself to uphold. Without an identity shift, the old version of you will always try to pull you backward. With an identity shift, that old version loses its power completely. This final chapter is not about adding another habit or creating another routine. It is about becoming someone entirely different, someone stronger, someone clearer, someone more capable, someone more committed than ever before, someone your younger self would have admired, someone you can genuinely trust, someone who simply does not quit. For the past 90 days, you have been building discipline, clarity, courage, focus, resilience, and structure. But the greatest transformation has been happening internally. You have been shifting from someone who hopes for change into someone who expects success. Identity sits at the root of every behavior. You cannot consistently behave in ways that contradict how you see yourself. That is why motivation fades. That is why habits often fail. But identity, the story you repeatedly tell yourself about who you are, endures. If your identity says, "I'm inconsistent," your actions will eventually match that belief. If your identity says, "I'm not disciplined," you will avoid effort. If your identity says, "I always give up," you will repeat the same patterns. But the moment your identity becomes, "I am someone who follows through," everything changes. Your actions change, your thoughts change, your decisions change, your presence changes. Identity creates an invisible force that pulls your behavior into alignment with your self-image. Over these 90 days, your greatest mission has been to build an identity worthy of your highest potential. Pillar 1. Identity is built through repetition. You do not become disciplined because you wish to be disciplined. You become disciplined because you repeatedly behave like a disciplined person. Every time you choose consistency over excuses, your identity grows stronger. Every time you show up on a difficult day, your identity evolves. Every time you recover after slipping, your identity rewrites itself. Identity is not a dream. It is a pattern. Identity is not a wish. It is a decision repeated over and over again. Identity is not who you used to be. It is who you practice becoming every single day. For 90 days, you have practiced becoming a stronger version of yourself. Now that version is ready to take the lead.